Welcome to the Squad Show. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Sam Darnold won a Super Bowl. Pigs have flown.
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings, and as Kevin Seifert said, truly all bets are off because the Super Bowl's over.
What's going on, Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman? What a difference one game makes. Drake May, certified bust. That guy stinks.
Hey, this is Arif Hasan with Wide Left Football. It's the end of the season, which means my favorite thing, acrimonious divorces.
Skol! It's the Viking Squad. Everything Minnesota Vikings, every week. Breaking down all the big hits and game-changing plays from the land of 10,000 lakes, the way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. It's time to gear up. The Viking Squad Show starts now.
Hello and welcome in. Off-season mode is officially underway here on the Vikings Squad Show. We're streaming on Locked On Vikings, where you can check out Luke Braun's daily episodes as well. Also get us free and available wherever you get your podcasts on audio. This show is part of the #1 sports podcast network. It's the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The winter games are on, baby. There's no better way to follow them than with a bet on FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Sam Darnold won the Super Bowl. That's where we'll start today. We'll get to Minnesota Vikings wide receiver free agency targets. Luke Inman's prospect of the day returns. And if our guys have him here, some Super Bowl nerdy stats. The Super Bowl, I think, was a bottom 5 viewing experience in my Super Bowl viewing lifetime. Tell me why I'm wrong, Arif. I think it's there with Chicago, Indianapolis, Denver, Seattle, Patriots, Rams.
Denver, Seattle was just a whole different mess of bad than what this was because, I mean, there were obviously issues with offensive execution. I'm not going to deny that, right? I think Drake May played pretty poorly. I thought Sam Darnold missed some opportunities for sure, but this was characterized, I think, primarily by 2 good defenses that were able to keep the game close through 3 quarters, right? 12-0 is not a distant game, right? So I don't know. I thought we saw some outstanding plays from outstanding players. They just happen to be not on the side of the ball that puts points on the board, right? So I don't know. Seeing Christian Gonzalez do what he did, seeing Devin Witherspoon do what he did, seeing Milton Williams do what he did, seeing Riley Mills, a rookie, have 4 snaps and have one of the best sacks I've ever seen in my life. That was awesome. Right? Seeing Boy Mafe, Golden Gopher, go Gophers, seeing what they were able to do. Craig Woodson, a 4th-round rookie, had one of the best games I've seen from a safety in the Super Bowl without a pick. Outstanding stuff. And I get, it's real kind of hardo football guy to be well, actually, it was, great defense. But it was genuinely spectacular defensive play, an outstanding chess match between Mike McDonald and Josh McDaniels. I don't know. I wouldn't say it was up there with one of the best Super Bowls at all. The first Chiefs-Eagles, outstanding, right? But, I'm not saying it's, but bottom 5 of the ones that you've seen, I can't be there with you on that one.
And I can't be with you there on that take, but because I can think of 20 other more dramatic Super Bowls in the last 25 years that actually
it's a game marked by blowouts. So many Super Bowls were just blowouts.
That much
you remember
recently,
2011, you remember 2007, you remember a couple years ago Chiefs Eagles. I get it. There's some outstanding exciting Super Bowls, and this does not rank with the best at all. But so many Super Bowls suck and are boring.
The first 30 Super Bowls, yes, a lot of blowouts. The last 20, 30 Super Bowls, I think we have an expectation for some drama. That's all I'm going to say. I like having something at stake in the 4th quarter. Maybe you could say the Patriots had an opportunity down by 12 with the ball, and then they throw a pick, and then basically end of the game.
I'm just saying, 2013, 2020, those were some real clunkers. The one we just saw, right before this one, was a real clunker. None of those were better than the one we just saw, and those are 3 I named off the top of my head.
I have a hot take. I feel like a blowout in the Super Bowl can be kind of fun.
It can be.
I think the Denver-Seattle 43-8 game was fun for its own reason.
It was
like
not fun.
Yeah, there was no drama, but you were watching like something historic happen. And at a certain point, the drama, the tension of it changed from oh boy, who's gonna win to oh boy, what are they gonna do to him
Like
next?
circus music was playing.
Yeah, it's just watching it's like watching a wrestling match where someone just gets beat to a pulp so bad, and you know that this isn't about who's gonna win anymore. It's about how bad of a pulp you can beat that guy to. And
I've had my skeptical face on for the last 5 minutes.
2006, 2015, both were worse Super Bowls for sure.
Quit saying the year. No one knows the years.
Okay.
Tell us the teams, Arif.
Oh, you don't?
No one remembers.
Okay, 2015, Panthers, Broncos. 2006,
Bad game.
Colts, Colts, Bears, right?
Yep.
I mentioned 2020. That was Tampa Bay winning against the Chiefs, right? Like, that was a bad game, right? I don't know, man. Like, there were so many bad Super Bowls, right? The 2018 Super Bowl, right? It was like no team scored more than 16 points. Like that was Rams Patriots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there were some truly bad Super Bowls that were like worse than this one by far, right? Some of them are historic for their own reasons, which is fine. But like I don't know, man. These Super Bowls were way worse, right? The 2013, the Seahawks Super Bowl against the Broncos, not even comparable to me in terms of worse Super Bowls than this. This is a fine Super Bowl. I don't think it's up there with some of the most exciting ones we've seen. Obviously, 2017 and 2011 are going to live forever in my head.
Can we agree on the word forgettable? It was just one.
It's fine.
It's in there.
Fine.
It was
Yeah.
one of them.
Yeah, we have had quite the spectrum of, in general, the championship weekend, as we know, is usually the best football we get all year. Super Bowls have been all over the map. You're right, Sam. Over the last decade or so, there has been some, who's getting who, some top-notch, just unbelievable, dramatic finishes, which is what we all want. But this had, more for like ball knowers, like who love watching defense. Like Mike McDonald was in his bag. We can get into that. Mike McDonald was cooking last night. The speed of the Seattle defense was fun. Definitely not a Patriots Falcons 28-3 game. No, that's for sure.
How about some Sam Darnold stats to make people feel worse? Chime in if you're feeling dead inside about the Darnold Super Bowl victory, or you're feeling happy for Sam. He is 35-10 in his last 45 football games, playoffs included. 35-10 in his last 45 football games. He is among the greats now in that he has multiple 14-win seasons, multiple. The other quarterbacks to be able to say that are Brady, Mahomes, Manning, Montana, and Jalen Hurts. And now he's got a Super Bowl to join him. That's crazy.
The list there at the end there, I think.
That's crazy.
Jalen Hurts has quietly accomplished like some insane things. Like...
He's certainly been on teams that have accomplished quite a lot. I agree.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there.
So here's my question about Darnold. Was this the same Darnold that won the Super Bowl that was with the Vikings, and the roster kind of came together a little bit better around him, or was this a better Darnold?
Oh, I have a take people aren't going to like.
Ooh, okay. I want to hear the take because I also have a take, but it's just not as spicy.
Yes, same Darnold. It's just that he's on a team that's functional, and the dysfunction of the Vikings just was like covered up a lot more than we understood by Sam Darnold. I feel a little bit like a Jets fan being like, "Oh, thank God he got out of this toxic organization."
Is that a spicy take? I completely agree. Was he known for being this like unbelievable quarterback, all of a sudden taking another step from last year's 14 wins to?
I think he was like slightly better, but not enough that like
I know he
random
started out hot.
Variance can't explain it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I know he started out hot the first 6-7 weeks, and had like 15 touchdown to 1 interception ratio or whatnot. But I don't know. I'm sitting there watching him. And I mean, let's be fair. His last game versus the Rams, Stafford versus Darnold, that was unbelievable. What a combined almost 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, no picks between those two quarterbacks. But I'm sitting there watching him last night, and just in general, even outside of the Rams game, looked like the same quarterback, a good quarterback. But again, that Seattle defense, number 1 defense in the league for a reason. They leaned on Kenny Walker a lot the last 4 or 5 games. It looked like the same guy. I agree.
Yeah, maybe
I
it's not
would-
that hot a take. I thought I'd get more pushback on the take that's basically, yeah, the Vikings wouldn't win a Super Bowl even if they had a guy this good.
I think saying
Which-
that last year's Vikings were dysfunctional, maybe you can spin that based on what we now know about some rumblings about the inner workings. But last year's team really felt to me like it did have a good identity. I thought this was not a 2022 group that you could pick holes in and kind of knock off the pedestal. Like, I thought the 2024 team had a real defense. It had a real offensive game plan. It had a very clear identity. They played from ahead. They got after the opposing quarterbacks. They ran the ball well. Darnold was great on third down. Like, I don't know if saying that the Vikings' dysfunction held him back is a fair take on last year.
I mean, it showed up at the end, right?
It showed up
That
at
they
the
just
end.
totally no-showed. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't even that they got beat. That they showed up asleep.
I mean, some of the
those
big
guys?
differences for me, Vikings had a elite defense last year. Seattle's defense this year, number one in the league with a bullet. Like, as good as Denver's defense was and a couple other units. I mean, some historical type stuff from Seattle that we got. Darnold, again, last year got to play with an elite top 5, top 3 in some categories, but this Seattle defense was even better. They had a better running game, a more consistent running game with Kenny Walker. Even after Charbonnet went down, but that was a great 1-2 combo. But Kenny Walker really heated up those last 4, 5, 6 games. And then a better offensive line as well. I know a lot of people. It's funny, 2 weeks in between the championship week and the Super Bowl, it's too much for me. Like, every single little thing got broken down. And I remember watching like a 20-minute bit about the right guard for Seattle. I was like, this is how you expose Seattle's offensive line, this right guard. Okay. But in
Brailford?
general,
yeah, that guy's light in the pants. He was a weakness.
in general,
Liability.
though, it felt like Seattle's offensive line much better than the Vikings last year, too. Those are the 3 things I feel like,
Sure.
Sam, to your point.
I want
that you
to
can
add that the reason I think my take isn't spicy is because I think it's a mixture of things, right? Because I think there are a lot of elements that we saw, not just in this game, but throughout the season, that was very similar to the Darnold that we saw, both positive and negative, right? He obviously loved to hunt for big plays. It worked out really well for him most of the time. He was more escapable in this pocket than I would have imagined. I mean, he did all right, against pocket pressure before this game, but he was outstanding in this game, escaping the pocket. And also, he didn't complete the process once he escaped the pocket. He didn't do very much with it. He kept on missing these open receivers, and that felt kind of reminiscent. But it just there was a level of, and it's hard to say this because of how not well he actually played in the game itself, but there's a level of consistency to Sam Darnold's play this year that I don't think shows up really in the box score, because I think he ranges from negative 0.35 EPA per play all the way up to 0.9. But a level of baseline consistency that we saw from him in Seattle this last year that we just did not see from him. And I mean that from watching him, not just taking to you want to take into account the offensive line play and all of this other stuff, right? The fact that the defense was even better than the Vikings defense was last year, one of the better defenses we've seen in a long time. But I do think that his level of play had a floor to it that with the Vikings it didn't, even after you account for all the differences between the two teams, when the running game was there for Seattle when it wasn't for the Vikings and stuff like that, which I think is great. I think that's growth, right? But I think fundamentally there were a lot of things that were very similar. Could he have taken the Vikings to the Super Bowl? No, right? That's not, and I don't think that's really the question Sam is asking, right? But I do think that there are some differences here between this year and last year that suggested a lot more growth from him, and that were the reasons that last year it was a little maybe too easy, but a little bit easier to move on from him. But yeah, I mean, props to him. Outstanding. I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, me too. I think after watching that game last night, watching Seattle's defense just dominate, I think we're talking about the wrong quarterback. It's not Darnold or Drake May. It's what Matt Stafford did in Seattle 2 weeks ago against that defense.
Yeah,
3 touchdowns, no picks,
game
almost
against
400 yards. Just kind of put things into perspective watching Drake May in that offense struggle. By the way, I know we've talked about it a little bit on this show. So was Garrett Bradbury good this year? Was he good this year?
He's always good, Luke.
No, no, he wasn't bad, but if they were so the take is that you take Jared Wilson moving from left guard to center. You take Will Campbell, move from left tackle to left guard.
Okay, during night games on the road, during the West Coast.
And then you take care of everyone the tackle. Yeah. No, you got to find a new tackle, right? And then you move on from Bradbury, I think is. And he was fine, which is a huge upgrade from what he was in Minnesota, which, I don't know, maybe that speaks to Chris Cooper a little bit.
I will say, just in general, I know we're about to wrap this conversation
Cooper, who just got the Eagles job.
Yep. Which I'm supposed to play the sound for, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck finding it.
Sam,
What are
you
you
missed it,
hiding
but I
that?
feel like you should know we had a whole saga with
I
Luke
already
looking
know.
sound for like
Yeah.
20 minutes.
No,
and
I
never
already
comes
know
out.
right now. You know why? Because I was in Vikings squad folder, and we're under Minnesota football party folder. Okay.
Oh,
Weird.
it's still
I've
named
never
for the
heard that
old.
But nice to know.
Yeah, I never changed. I never made the switch.
It was a whole bit for about.
We were hearing like train whistles and clapping and kazoos or something.
Everybody wanted me to play
Bongs.
the sound. Yeah, it's like, dude, get to. People thought it was a pre-recorded show because we weren't talking about the breaking news.
And the only reason we were talking about the breaking news is because you couldn't find the
I know,
sound.
dude.
What was it? Well, I'm trying to think of what it was on Thursday.
What was the breaking news?
What was the breaking news?
Macho, tell
Cousins
us.
going to get cut?
It was something front office.
It was a coaching front office kind of deal.
Yeah.
The coaching
like
Macho,
a
help us.
consultant
What was it?
They're bringing in?
What's that?
The Vikings were bringing in another consultant type.
Oh, the assistant
it?
GM,
Yeah.
no, consultant kind of guy. Yeah.
It wasn't
Maybe, I
that.
don't
What
know.
is that?
They
this-
brought in an outside front office guy. Matt Thomas? Sure.
Oh yeah, Tom.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was that. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Did Kirk
Another cap
Cousins'
guy
name?
to do Brzezinski's job while Brzezinski.
Yeah, well,
did it.
Brzezinski does not his
Yeah.
job, right?
Yeah. Did Kirk come up on Thursday? Did you guys get into that?
I don't
No, but I
remember
did a whole
anything
show
ever
on
said
it on
the
Locked On
podcast.
Vikings.
Let's
this
get
morning.
into it when we return.
Okay.
Let's talk a little Kirk as we continue the quarterback and Sam Darnold conversation when we return. We are brought to you today by FanDuel. Football's done, but the Olympics aren't. The Olympics are just getting started. Winter Games are officially here. If you're anything like us, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. Already today, watched some big air skiing, watched some free dance, figure skating. It was great. We had Japan and I think it was Italy hockey on, women's hockey. Already today, and it's going to be every day for the next few weeks with the Olympics. So follow along at FanDuel as well. Get the medal counts there. You stay connected to the action. You got curling that you can place a wager on. Speed skating races decided by inches and hundredths of a second. FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. The Winter Games are here. No better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Definitely a friend of a friend definitely won 5 cents on a $5 bet on the U.S. women's hockey team on Friday. Profitable.
Congrats to your friend of a friend.
Profitable.
That's honorable.
Sam Darnold wins a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins is going to get cut. Already the rumblings are back. The steam is back. Kirk Cousins to the Minnesota Vikings. He's 37. He's got 1 foot in the TV door. He's already auditioning to be like, CBS's number 2 color analyst.
Replace Greg? What are we talking about?
Greg. Isn't Greg a Fox guy? Greg's a Fox
Oh, no, you're
guy.
right. He's a Fox guy.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. CBS could use
Charles
a super
Davis, I think, is leaving. I think there's actually an opening.
roster. Fantastic.
God, he'd be so good at that.
Yeah, okay. No, I've changed my mind now that you've brought up these dynamics, Sam. I was all for bringing Kirk Cousins in to Minnesota, depending on what the guaranteed money looked like, which is always the question specifically with Cousins. But now that CBS could use, like, they need a deeper bench, right? Like that is a rough crew. How far the mighty have fallen, really. And Kirk Cousins, I think, would slot in perfectly there. I think he was born for this role.
You think a better fit in the CBS jacket with the big eye on the breast pocket than with the Vikings helmet on his head? That's what would be different? Like if Kirk came back to the Vikings at age 37, what would be different that could elevate him beyond a quarterback that's good for 9-10 wins, a quarterback that only won a playoff game in 6 years, one playoff game, who had no escapability, right? What would be different?
That's the secret. You
Yeah,
wouldn't be
less
trying to
mobility.
elevate.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
The
No.
expectation would be different.
Yeah, exactly. It's now that we've experienced the lows, I think getting back to medium is just gonna feel so good. You're like, your rock steady, reliable ex-girlfriend wants you back, and you're like, was it great? But
No.
it was something.
Don't know what you had until it's gone. Who now? When you address the quarterback in free agency on Thursday, I missed a big show. What were your conclusions? What did you conclude was a good option in free agency, if not Kirk?
Conclude, Sam. The show is not about
Speculate.
conclusions.
Right.
We liked
talked
Malik
about
Willis.
Yep, we like Malik Willis.
No chance the Vikings can
But-
afford that.
Realistic as far as money.
Yeah.
Most likely,
Yeah.
because he's going to be the hot.
I don't know if the market's going to react. Like, I think the fact that it's 3 games depresses his price a little bit.
I
don't
think
think
the fact
he's gonna...
that he's a quarterback is always going to the appeal. Like,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
think
he's
the
a quarterback,
thing is,
but he's a quarterback that has a lot of risk in it.
now that
Like,
we've seen what Geno Smith and Sam Darnold just
Who?
did, I think people are just gonna over-index for reclamation project. Have you heard of this guy, Sam Darnold? Crazy good story,
You heard about
actually.
Is there a book or anything I can read? Nothing yet.
Mike Sean Dugar's gonna have that book in 4 months. Just wait. But yeah, I think given kind of all of these reclamation projects, right? Like people are like, hey, remember Ryan Tannehill? Forget the fact that Malik Willis was on the same team. Remember Ryan Tannehill and how he got better? I think that's where people are, is that they don't. There's going to be a FOMO about Malik Willis. It's going to drive his market. I don't think it's going to be a market that's set on these rational expectations of only 3 games, less than 100 dropbacks, I think, if I remember correctly. I think they won't be able to afford him because of that. So beyond that, what we were Kirk, we mentioned Marcus Mariota, right, as somebody that you'd
Mitch Trubisky got brought up.
Mitch Trubisky and
Jimmy
backup
Garoppolo
kind of
got brought up.
types.
Yeah.
Garoppolo.
As
What
far
do you
as
think
the
we're all
actual
gonna do?
scheduled free agents on paper, not a lot of
just
guys
trade
that
for
move the
Mac
needle.
Jones. This is all.
That's where I was going to go there.
Yeah, the trade market
feels
is
like
much more interesting.
They're not
market.
allegedly not going to trade him, but I guess that's what you.
That's
would
what
say
you have
if
to
were
say,
trying to drive the
right.
price up.
Does
Yeah.
Tua
Yeah.
get cut? Does Kyler Murray get moved? Mac
Kyler
Jones,
Murray's getting cut, I
Anthony
think.
Richardson.
The idea of adding Tua and just for funsies trying to re-up Ryan Kelly and just having the all concussion team, really just it strikes a chord that
After firing the GM for taking too many irresponsible injury risks,
right, yeah.
and then going for that.
I asked this about Sam Darnold. I'll ask it about Kirk Cousins. Would the Vikings be getting the same Kirk Cousins that we saw in Atlanta? Would it be the same Kirk Cousins that was with the Vikings and won
No, I think it'd
13
be-
games, won there, went 4-4 the next year, and then got hurt?
At what, 37 now? I think you have to expect a little bit of a limited version of what Kirk Cousins does. I think his game would age pretty well, just the way he thinks through things. That when it has to be more about being safe with the ball, learning how to not never make a mistake because you don't have that much of a ceiling. I think that kind of fits him okay. I wonder if his game would age kind of gracefully, but to your original point, Sam, there's really nothing we can look at that shows us that this would ever be anything different than the bajillion slightly above 500 seasons we've seen from Kirk Cousins. At best, at worst, it's worse than that. And but I think he also understands that he's kind of a borderline backup now, and wouldn't do the
I'm
thing where
surprised-
he says no to a competition.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like his mentality about that is different than it was in the past.
I'm
I think
surprised.
he's certainly not the quarterback he was in 23 before he got injured, right? I think that we should not expect that.
Yeah.
We saw it in Atlanta, the final 6 games or whatever it was. It was much better, right, than what Atlanta was working with Michael Penix and before that Desmond Ridder and Marcus Mariota. Which is kind of where you're at, right? It's like, well, he's better than bad, and boy, are we wrestling with bad.
Once they brought in Stefanski, I thought there was a little bit of a obvious connection there. Connect the dots. I'm surprised, and clearly they're in a quarterback reset right now, anyways, and just trying to clear more about the money than anything. But I was surprised to see once Stefanski was brought in that they were so quick to announce that. Yep, one of our first moves. We're moving on from Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins didn't necessarily have a defense in his 6 years with the Vikings that I think had this defense's ceiling. That'd be one item to try to rest
You
on.
remember the first year of Kirk? Like, I don't know, Sam.
You're coming off of 17. You're right.
18 and 19 were both insane, and then it fell apart in COVID.
That defense, the 18 defense, probably still hanging on to its not its peak, but still in its prime. 19 defense beginning to crumble.
Still, I mean, the 19 defense was still a top 5 defense in the league. It just wasn't
you just saw Xavier Rhodes start to lose stuff, and you were like, oh.
Yeah. Whoa, what's going on? He's getting hurt all the time now.
But the vibes of it were, I think, worse than the production.
Yes, yeah. And then 20 and 21, Jesus. Yeah.
Then you had like Todd Davis taking real snaps, and it was a miracle they got off the field.
Let's get to our Super Bowl nerdy stats.
Analytics fans rejoice. It's time to get educated.
Whoa, you're blowing my mind right now.
With the nerdy stat of the day.
Not a stat for me, but a couple of reminders. Ernest Jones was taken in the 3rd round of the 2021 draft, during which the Vikings selected Kellen Mond. Chaz
During which the
Surratt.
head coach stormed out of the room, famously.
Wyatt
Did we
Davis.
already draft Patrick Jones at that point?
Patrick Jones.
What was the order there?
I thought
Jones
Patrick Jones
That was the order.
last,
He listed them in order.
the last of the 4. So Ernest was somewhere in there. Was Ernest the wrong Jones? Maybe that's what happened. Maybe they sent in the wrong Jones.
Unlikely, but anything is
But
possible.
possible.
Right.
Possible.
But not a 0% chance.
It's the best I can give you, Sam. Not a 0% chance.
I also remember a lot of Amenwari talk on this show too. A lot of speculation that could be, and it ended up being he went in the 2nd round. Vikings didn't have a 2nd round pick, and maybe it wouldn't have made sense with the Donovan Jackson pick, but which is only like 10 away. I mean, not wildly off base to say they could have taken Amenwari. They also took Asezi Odomewo and Ty Chandler over Reek Wallen.
Yep.
Just
pretty good.
Take that for what it's worth.
I wasn't a huge Amenwari guy, so I don't want to like dunk on them too much for that. If I recall correctly, I don't think I was big on Amenwari, but I did want Reek Woolen. I super wanted him. 6'4", super fast, actually pretty good in agility drills. Relatively raw, but I didn't think nearly as raw as like a 4th round valuation for someone with that.
Yeah, everybody missed on him though. What, 5th round? Yeah, everybody.
Well, not me. I was right.
No, I was right too. A little bit more than you, but
but no, I was wrong on Amenwari, so I can't run too many laps. But yeah, there were a lot of misses here, like you mentioned, Ernest Jones, obviously. But that's the problem with like this sort of thing is that like you can't just look at like the best examples of picks and pick ranges because every team is going to look pretty bad there. Like there was a pick that even great teams could have made that would have been better. So I don't want to focus too much specifically on individual players that played in the Super Bowl that the Vikings had access to via the draft. I would rather just focus on how bad the actual picks were than how good the potential picks were.
Well, yeah, I mean, to your point, step back. The body of work, these last 3 or 4 drafts by Seattle has just been knocked out, like grand slam, like not even home run. I'm trying to think of a better term or word.
Yeah.
But just
really, the consensus board loves their picks. So I mean,
hey,
there you go.
Just saying.
Yeah, as soon as John Schneider started looking up spreadsheets / Pete Carroll was gone, it was.
Let's get an analytic guy in here.
It was when they stopped,
analytic guy in here then.
Like when they started not just taking like consensus board approved picks, but just doing like consensus board regular, like not taking like
Yeah.
third round prospects in the first
Yeah,
round.
they kept on taking like third round prospects in the first. That was like a thing that they
Yes.
kept doing, and then they were like,
They were trying to
hey,
beat New England
what,
for a while.
What an outstanding defensive tackle! Can he play guard? But like instead of it being
Yeah.
the meme, they just actually did it.
Yeah, who's that linebacker
like
they
years.
took at the end of the first round, like 7-8 years ago? Nobody had him at top.
One of them was Jordan Brooks, who
Jordan
turned out
Brooks, who did turn
pretty
out
good.
to give him that,
Yeah.
but it was like
but
a
like
lot
they
of,
did like Charles Cross and then Jackson Smith-Njigba and Devin Witherspoon and
like
it's
LJ
okay, they're doing
Collier
it
like
on
a round
offense.
earlier than he should have been and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Woolen, I mean, I don't know how he finished this season, or even I guess I should say how 2025 went, but he started out so hot, and then I know he kind of cooled down. I mean, wasn't he in trade talks for a little
He
bit?
was
this
at the
year?
beginning of the season, yeah.
Yep.
Because he had a pretty rough, 2024, right?
Yeah.
And mostly his value was being derived from like the first 8 or 10 games of his rookie season. So I get why Seattle fans were frustrated with him, but this year, I wouldn't say he was like a consistent corner or anything like that. God no. But this year he turned in some really good performances.
I think it really does, just to dumb it all down, the draft. It starts with your first round picks. You gotta hit on your first round picks. It just sets you in such a hole if you can't consistently hit on. I'm not saying every single pick every year, but it's just so much more magnified, I feel like. And Byron Murphy, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Devin Witherspoon. I mean, they've, again, not to mention day 2 and day 3 as well. You sprinkle a couple other starters and the Nick Eamon Worry guys. They've just crushed it, man. John Schneider has been balling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Can't believe
that's
that-
been
I
a
can't
common
believe the
thread
Rams
recently.
Traded Ernest Jones, man. They really hate their own linebackers. Like a
How about
strong
even the
tradition
trade
there.
for the speedster from the Saints, the receiver?
Yeah, Rashid Shaheed. Yeah.
Making a difference in the playoffs. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great deal. Any nerdy stats, Super Bowl related?
Yeah, I got 2 actually because I was worried that one of you was going to snipe mine because it was a tweet from somebody else. Stephen Ruiz tweets out, which I know everyone's a huge fan of Stephen Ruiz, uncontroversial figure, right? But but he tweeted out that since the year 2000, this is the worst in total EPA. The worst playoff run for any quarterback that has started at least 3 games in a single postseason since 2000. Drake May, negative 29.2 EPA. That is worse than Peyton Manning in 2015, also notably in one of the worst Super Bowls we've ever seen. Rex Grossman in 2006, again. Joe Flacco in 2008, which I think a lot of people don't remember Flacco that way, but hey. And Jared Goff in 2018, which, yeah. So yeah, those are the worst runs by any quarterback that started at least 3 games in the postseason of postseason quarterbacks. So that's that one, and then I have a backup one in case we don't have.
Hold on to that.
Yeah,
hold on to that. I might give May a partial pass because he had to play in the snow twice, but
sure, but like. No.
I have one. You probably saw it that Will Campbell gave up 14 pressures in this game, which is a staggering number. It is by a lot the most pressures that anybody gave up all season. The previous total was 9. Like, that's just horrifying. And also, I'm trying to look through Super Bowl history of PFF pressures, but unfortunately, the data that I'm looking at right now only goes back to like 2019. But the most in a Super Bowl, at least in the last 6 years, worse than any of the very famous performances previously in the top 10, or I guess now in the top 10. 8 of the top 10 of the worst O-line performances by pressures allowed were Chiefs. 4 of them were from the 2020 Super Bowl against the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
4 of the like worst 10 O-line performances. And I would guess that you're pretty close in Super Bowl history. I don't know how many.
Sorry, would that mean Mike Remmers was
I don't have the data.
Okay.
Remmers is in here as a Chief though.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, right? Like is it possible that Mike Remmers has 2 of the worst Super Bowl performances we've ever seen?
Yes. I mean, he gave up 6 pressures in that Super Bowl, which is very bad and does land in the top 10, but it is not in the top 2 of his team in that game.
Yeah, because Andrew Wiley,
Wow.
oh God.
Yeah, and Nick Allegretti.
Yeah. And then, so if we take a look at, that was 2015, right? Yeah. Take a look at Mike Remmers, which, like, again, he was in 2 Super Bowls, right? Like, you don't want to be that, but, like, buddy, you are the story of 2 Super Bowls in not the way you want to be.
How many pressures did he give up in the 2017 NFC Championship game? Look that one up.
I'll look that up, but 10 pressures in the 2015 Super Bowl.
Gracious. And this was a lot worse than that. This was 4 pressures more.
Well, so that was a next-gen stat, not a PFF stat. So we want to be careful not to necessarily compare the two because they chart them differently. But to your point, like, yes, Will Campbell had a historically abysmal Super Bowl. So with 2017 Conference Championship game?
Yeah, I'm looking
Remmers
up.
gave up 3. I'm looking it up. He gave up 3 pressures, which was actually he had the best pass blocking grade of anyone on the O-line.
Yeah, he was no Rashad Hill, who gave up 8.
Hill, in the 2017 game? Yeah, it is 10 pressures by PFF as well in the Super Bowl, by the way.
Yeah.
Yikes.
First Super Bowl to have 0 touchdowns scored through the first 3 quarters, I think I saw.
Second Super Bowl.
A.J. Barner first touchdown
Rams,
scorers
Patriots.
in the sweat of their lives. I almost made that bet, but I was like, I'm not going to do a first touchdown score.
Yeah.
But
What was that?
I would have been right.
15-1? 12-1?
I don't remember.
Or am I reaching? Was that?
No,
it
it
had to
probably
be
something
like
like that. Yeah.
plus 8,000 is what I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Even like the top guys to be first touchdown scorer are still like 6-1. And then if you're a tight end, probably
not
15,
any time,
20.
but first touchdown score. Yeah, you're right.
First touchdown score.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Arif said it was a great game though. No TDs till the 4th quarter.
I didn't say
game.
great. I didn't say great. I said
You led me to
definitely
believe it
not
was
bottom
great.
5.
I couched it by saying in my Super Bowl viewing lifetime. I'm not going back to Super Bowl 12 here.
I did. I only went to Super Bowls that you remembered. I named them, and you were like, "Yeah, that was a bad one."
I haven't sifted through
You should do a power ranking.
7 or 8 bad
Make
ones
this official
and
here.
decided
Let's
how
draft
they're-
Super Bowls.
I
Yeah.
did actually. No, hold on.
Draft
No, hold on.
Super Bowls.
I did rank all the Super Bowls for Pro Football Network way back. I watched all of them. And so I did rank all the Super Bowls 3 years ago, like before the first Eagles-Chiefs one. So I do have some level of context here.
How much of the bottom 5 was comprised of Vikings Super Bowls? Because they were all stinkers.
Yeah, actually, you'd be surprised. Not that many in the very bottom. They were in like this very mediocre next tier.
Okay.
So yeah, so so the 1973 was a bottom 5 one, but that's the only one in the bottom 5. Then
was the
from
Miami
there,
one, right?
the Super Bowls, the 76 one, not that one, not that great, but that was the next worst one.
Man, I
Though,
would have
actually,
put. Well,
can I tell you about the
I would
worst
have put
Super
the
Bowl?
Raiders one lower than the
Let's
Dolphins
break.
one. Just
Okay.
Hold that thought. We're gonna break. Come back. Wide receiver free agency previews, and Arif tells us what the worst Super Bowl is. We are brought to you by Indeed. If you've ever hired someone who looks good on paper but wasn't the right fit, you know how important that is. When you want candidates who truly match what you're looking for, trust Indeed sponsored jobs. Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other sites. Just deal with Indeed sponsored jobs. Put your post at the top of the page, help you reach the right candidates faster. Instead of struggling to get your job post seen, Indeed sponsored jobs helps your listing stand out and reach quality candidates faster. We're lazy. We don't want to scroll down the page. You want to see it at the very top. That's what Indeed sponsored jobs accomplishes. So when you use Indeed sponsored jobs, you're 90% more likely as a company to report a hire than a non-sponsored job post. Spend more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with less stress, less time, more results using Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show, Viking Squad Show, get a $75 sponsored job credit to help give your job the premium placement it deserves at Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL. Just go to Indeed.com/LockedOnNFL right now and support the show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. We'll preview wide receivers and free agency in a moment, but Arif, tell us the worst Super Bowl.
Super Bowl 24, the 1989 Super Bowl between the Denver Broncos and the San Francisco 49ers. By halftime, the score was 27-3. It was a shellacking. And there are a lot of blowouts in Super Bowls that are decided by halftime. So what makes this one the worst? Well, the halftime show. The scheduled halftime performer quit 3 days before the game, which led to an Elvis impersonator performing just normal standard magic tricks on something called 3D TV. Notably, the Elvis impersonator never sang an actual Elvis song. He was just wearing...
How have I never heard of this?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so it was a very boring game. There are some like legacy elements to it. It was John Elway's third loss, right? It was Joe Montana's fourth ring, which obviously like that's like a huge thing.
Oh God, everybody was rooting against that.
Yeah, which is one of the reasons, right? That it's kind of the worst one. It's like oh, nobody wanted this outcome. This dynastic team is dynastying all over everybody. Everyone feels bad for John Elway at this point, right? They're like, God,
one away
on.
from
And,
a Buffalo. Oh no, Buffalo hadn't happened yet.
yeah. But yeah, like it was brutal, and it was just a boring game without much happening. And then the halftime show, an Elvis impersonator does like card tricks or whatever in a stadium and doesn't sing an Elvis song.
So they just went to like Vegas and found like on the street like some sideshow Elvis guy.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
That's what it feels like as you're explaining.
So they're like, oh,
Yeah.
Well, this is before halftime shows were like they realized that was a thing that you could like bring people in because it was Michael Jackson was like the first one, right? Like it was a while before. Like his name was Elvis Presto.
It was
God.
Elvis Presto.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Macho, you're thinking, okay, so you said a guy doing card tricks for 150 million people sounds kind of awesome.
But like
I could
close-up
see,
magic in a stadium.
I could see Penn and Teller doing that and actually doing pretty well, figuring out how to do the stagecraft of that crazy difficult event. I could not see Elvis Presto doing it. I'm sorry. Elvis Presto did not have the juice.
Yeah, pick a lane, dude. What are you? Are you a magician? Are we doing music? Pick one.
Free agency preview continues with wide receivers today. Jalen Naylor possibly gone. You never really had Rondale Moore, but you lose Rondale Moore. So you're looking for wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 types in free agency. We already talked about, how bringing back Kirk could resurrect the Minnesota Vikings. Well, let's just keep the theme going. Bring back Kirk, Christian Kirk. Except he's not coming back. He'd be coming for the first time, but bring him in.
Christian Kirks. I'm not the first person to make that joke.
Got him.
I can't take credit for that. But.
He's coming off a 4-year, $72 million deal. Originally with Jacksonville, got traded to Houston where he finished that deal. He's had injury issues the last 2 years. I would say Kwesi guy, but Kwesi's gone. He's not been productive the last 2 years. But he also had a 144-yard playoff game. Like, are you buying low on Christian Kirk? Yes. You're buying low on a 29-year-old who's had success. I would also like to nominate Tyquan Thornton.
Oh.
Tyquan Thornton has an absurd stat this year. Guess what his ADOT is? His average depth of target. Just guess the number.
20.2.
Did someone say 2?
No, I said 20.2.
No, okay.
I said 2.
I said
2.8. 2.8.
Other end of the spectrum.
I said 2. I was saying boo words.
I'll go 3. I'll prices right him.
His ADOT this year was hold on.
It sounded like you had it, Sam. What?
I did. Well, I filtered it. I
like
filtered it too far
Next.
down. His ADOT was 27.8.
Get owned. I owned all of you freaks.
Wow. I was second.
27.8.
I was saying, no, you weren't.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. If O'Connell is truly as in charge of all of these decisions as it seems, that is like perfect. All he wants to do is huck that thing.
Yeah.
This is Andre Roberts.
The next closest of anyone who had 10 or more targets was Tutu Atwell at 20.4. So 27.8 is absurd. He's 25.
On how many
crazy
targets?
Fast. 36. That's not a nothing number. It's not a big number, but that's a pretty big sample size.
That's
for
a
reasonable sample size to produce
crazy
27.
stat.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, you got one
I'm
more.
pretty
Nate?
into that.
Give me one more. Fling out one more.
I got one more. I don't want to steal everyone's thunder though. Give us
okay, if we want to go down to keep in theming with the pregame concert, if we're going to go down the boulevard of broken receivers, I feel like we could probably grab like an Amari Cooper or a DeAndre Hopkins on a discount.
Oh God.
Fine.
Just
Look,
like
Ziggy, we're being so serious.
Yeah, well, it's just I feel like if we're gonna do the opposite, if we're gonna do the opposite of Quasi, we got to get an old and busted guy who like you're kind of hoping the opposite. In 17 days, it's Elvis Presley's 70th birthday. Thank you, Macho Meech. I am terrified of the listeners of this show. I have just learned. I say that while Macho Meech's profile pic for like 2 years running has been Luke Braun's mask. But,
yeah, it's been the mask of my face.
Yeah, which who's to say
audio
who came
listeners,
up with
you got to
that
get
bit?
in on this chat.
Yeah, but yeah, I just feel like if you grab a bunch of receivers who have legacy but not a ton of talent at the moment, that would be the anti-Quasi. And so you could do like an Amari Cooper or DeAndre Hopkins. Hey, you could even bring back Stephon Diggs. He's a free agent, right? No way that goes wrong. Stephon Diggs, Kirk Cousins in the same building with JJ McCarthy right there. Well, what could go wrong?
Zimmer got a job? What's he doing? Special teams.
Put him on Flores' staff and see how those guys get along.
Oh my god.
Deontay Johnson was promising 3 years ago. Bring him in. His ESPN open score is tremendous.
The top end of this receiver class is kind of interesting. Like, I don't know how many of these guys actually hit the market, but like Wan'Dale Robinson, George Pickens, Alec Pierce, Romeo Doubs, Deebo Samuel. Like, there's some Rashid Shaheed is voiding. There's some interesting stuff. I don't know how many of those guys actually get let out those buildings.
I think Pickens is getting tagged. They said, but
Pickens is getting tagged. Yeah, I remember that. That kind of means that like the next tier down, call them the Kendrick Bournes, are going to get a lot cheaper because everybody who really wants to spend at wide receiver is going to have their pick. They're going to have somebody to spend on. So then you're going to be left bidding with a bunch of other teams that are in the same spot saying, we're looking for some depth. We're looking for a rotational guy, but I'm not looking to spend 20 mil. And then that's where your like negotiating environment is. And I feel like that might be a good reason for Naylor not to leave.
Absolutely a chance he stays.
Yeah.
Absolutely a chance. The Vikings got to start maneuvering. I mean, they're some dudes internally. Not saying today, but the next couple of weeks, I would expect that we start hearing about restructures, cuts. They got to have money to play with a month from now.
Get Rashid Shaheed.
That'd be a guy?
Voids. Yeah.
Is he going to be one of the expensive ones?
Probably. Get him.
Yeah. I'm kind of looking at value.
I think the Seahawks extend Shaheed. Honestly, they've got this structure in place with void years. Like they can.
Yeah.
I don't think he.
I don't know.
I don't think Wan'Dale hits the market either.
Yeah.
Inman, you're sitting on a gold mine here. I just feel it.
For a target, wide receiver target. I mean, you had me at Amari Cooper. If this was 2015. No, I can't pull up the list. Available. I can't pull up the list.
Oh, he can't go to Spot Track.
Right, yeah.
What about Calvin Austin?
I actually don't hate that one. For all of the ones that we've been throwing out that I've been joking about, Calvin Austin, that sounds pretty good.
I feel like we need to return to the tradition of guys coming in to be wide receiver 3 who then do not make the team, like the Kendall Wright honorary roster spot.
Jordan Taylor.
Do you think Olamide Zaccheaus could fill that role for the Vikings?
He might be a little too. I kind of think that guy.
He might be too good.
Good, yeah. No.
Greg
Dortch.
No, because like a lot of these wide receiver 3s that like don't make the roster, we overvalue, right? Especially like former first round pick, Brandon Cooks.
Oh God, Brandon Cooks coming in. Yeah, he's a little familiar with Kevin O'Connell, right? I think they had some overlap with the Rams.
Yeah. Perfect 90-man roster bait. Like, perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then
Trick
he's
the fans
on the
out of their
freeze
shoes.
inexplicably, and you're like, is this going to make the team?
Yeah. Brandon
This
Cooks
is
is the ideal. Yeah.
This is a shocking comment that just came up in the chat from Macho.
Okay,
Elvis
well, let's
Presley
not
was
read that one out
charged.
loud.
Okay.
We don't want
Well,
the algorithm to pick up on.
That was
But-
Elvis Presley. Maybe isn't the
May not be with
family-friendly
us.
Not
star.
doing an encore.
Okay,
Yeah.
rips to Elvis Presto, not a role model, right? That's what we're learning.
Wait, if you're a
Alleged.
close magic guy, you're telling me you can't hide what you're possessing?
Right?
Well, I
Maybe he
feel,
wanted
I
to get
feel
caught.
like with age, the dexterity of your hands is kind of, the game
Yeah,
has
time
passed
comes
him
for us
by,
all.
as it were. Yeah.
Anyways, Kirk Cousins, Vikings.
2 Christian Kirks, and that's the offseason plan.
Impossible to argue with.
Favorite Super Bowl commercial?
I kind of like the Adrian Brody tax ones where he is talking about how tragic and sad, and then he's like, "Hey, do we have a dog for him? Your dog's gonna die." Just like a crazy set of commercials. That was good, and it wasn't like it was trying too hard, but it knew it was trying too hard. Whereas the Dunkin' Donuts commercial, I absolutely hated because of how hard it was trying and how many jokes and references it tried.
There
As
was
a
a lot in
millennial,
that. They packed a lot in that.
yeah,
60
as a
seconds.
millennial, nostalgia bait is not hard. I am tricked by the most casual types of nostalgia bait. The NBC production wasn't that good, and I didn't mind because they were playing Harvey Danger as the bumper music, right? I am easily satisfied by crazy nostalgia bait. And Duncan they overdid it. How did you overdo it with nostalgia bait, right? With the Goodwill Hunting, with 8 Goodwill Hunting
Friends,
references,
Seinfeld,
and Fresh Prince, right?
Fresh Prince.
And you screwed it up. So there were a lot of commercials that I think a lot of people liked that were just not for me. And it was just not that great a crop of commercials, honestly, which is we've been having a drought, right, of good commercials. But I don't know, I like the tax one. I liked Little Man. That one was good. Was that the Universal Studios one?
Might have missed that one.
I'll be honest.
Relax your tight end.
That was fantastic.
That was great.
That was a good one. Yeah. That was a good one.
And a very important message too in there, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for a product, but yeah. I mean, to be clear, we are being sold something. I just that's. But yeah, no. Little Man was is like the 2 brothers, right? And it starts with the younger brother getting mossed and being called Little Man. And over time, they go to Universal and the bigger brother is terrified of all these rides, and the younger brother is really embracing it. At the end, he suns his bigger brother by calling him Little Man. It's a great commercial.
I
gotta go look at
top
the
10
montage
list
of
up.
them.
Andy Sandberg, Hellman's Mayo commercial.
I missed that.
Funny.
I literally haven't seen one. I saw
Xfinity,
them on
Jurassic
Yeah,
Park.
I couldn't really.
haven't.
Elijah Wood in the Skittles commercial was pretty good.
We had like a dozen people.
Sam, you saw one, the Pringles. Yeah, Sabrina Carpenter.
Sabrina Carpenter got my attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pringles. Fall in love with the Pringles, man.
That was a fine commercial. It was an above-average commercial. I'll give it that.
It's number one on my list because it's the only one I've seen.
Fair enough. Iro6558 makes a good point. The Ring commercial was terrifying. You recall this one, Finding the Dog?
No.
It was terrifying because the premise of the commercial was that you lost your dog and so you need to go find your dog, right? It ran away or something, right? And Ring activates its Dark Knight Matrix of cameras.
Oh God!
To find the
graphic
dog.
was so something out of a sci-fi movie from 2008.
Oh,
they made the
Search
Torment
Party.
Nexus. The
Torment.
They were like, we congratulations, we've made the Torment Nexus from the movie Don't Make the Torment Nexus, right? And and it was just oh, that's so cool that you could at any point leverage the power of your extraordinarily voluntarily opted into surveillance state to see and identify anything that you ever want to. That's so cool. You can find your dog.
We can see everything, including your dog, wherever it is, everywhere.
Good that they're transparent about that. Just glad that there's transparency.
We're not hiding anything. Yeah.
Big tech. Luke Inman's prospect of the day. Can't forget about that. That's next on the Squad Show.
Football.
All right, you've rattled off 3 thus far. Mansur Delane, Caden McDonald, and Jake Slaughter, who we got today.
Yeah, so corner, D-tackle, center. We're going to go safety today. Safety obviously going to be – it's going to be a big area conversation regardless of whatever happens to Harrison Smith, whatever he decides to do this offseason. Quick little snapshot on the safety class. You got Caleb Downs kind of at the top, kind of in a tier of his own, almost guaranteed to go in the top 10, 12 picks, I'll say. Drop off after that, maybe in that 30 to 60 range with these next 3 guys kind of in that tier 2. Emmanuel Neil Warren from Toledo. Arif, I think you brought him up a couple
Check out the profile Devin Jackson wrote at Wide Left Football and Emmanuel Neil Warren.
There you go.
Toledo defensive backs.
Yeah, so he's intriguing. AJ Halsey from LSU is intriguing, and then Dylan Thieneman from Oregon. I'm intrigued by all 3. If you made me pick one today, and who knows, maybe my answer changes tomorrow, but today I'm leaning a lot on Thieneman. Started as a freshman at Purdue. They lined him up as this deep center field kind of single high guy as a freshman, put up a fantastic PFF grade. I got to pull it up. 89.5 as a freshman. Yep. Sophomore year, they put him more in the box. They kind of lined him up at nickel corner a little bit more as well. He transfers to the Ducks last year. And it just kind of felt like he put it all together there. He was kind of their Swiss Army knife, Mr. Do-It-All, put up a 91 overall PFF grade. He's speed all the time. I can't wait to see what he runs because he looks like a blazer on film when you watch him. He might be the fastest safety in the entire class, I think. He was really good in that almost kind of... Oh, well, what did he run?
Like was a 4.7. He was fast.
I'm also getting Coy Parrish vibes with the resume. Like a great freshman year at a Big Ten school. Purdue, drops off a little bit.
Transferring now.
Oregon, yeah.
As good as he was kind of, again, the second year at Purdue, his sophomore year, they kind of put him in almost the Seattle safety, Nick Eamon-Wari type of guy in the box, almost as like a little hybrid linebacker a little bit. But once he got to Oregon last year.
Metellus kind of.
A little bit, but I think for me, my number one takeaway I want you to have is I go back to the freshman tape when he was this single high kind of center fielder. I think he's got the potential to maybe be the best pure deep free safety cover guy in the entire class.
So his ceiling, you would argue, is like plus Cam Bynum, right? Like better than Cam Bynum, can do those things. How are his hands?
I would say, honestly, at worst, to put it a different way, Arif, at worst, like a Juan Thornhill ball hocking guy, 4 or 5 picks a year. But at his best, I feel like, again, last year he was just so versatile in like, for example, Dan Lanning in Oregon. He went to Purdue, or excuse me, he comes from Purdue, goes to Oregon. Dan Lanning ran a lot more versatile coverages, a lot more quarters coverage, and you just got to see him line up in multiple spots, and he looked like a lot more polished once you got to Oregon. He looked good at multiple spots. Indiana playoff game, I don't know how much you guys watched of that, but he looked like one of their best run defenders out there, one of their biggest hitters. But I'm more enticed about his kind of single high skills, just knowing what a speed freak he is. He covers so much ground snap to snap, and again, at worst, I think he's maybe the ball hocking Juan Thornhill kind of guy, but good run defender, big hitter, and once he got to Oregon, he kind of looked a lot more polished, Mr. Do-It-All hybrid
why
type
isn't
of
he
guy.
Considered the top safety in the class? Because it doesn't seem like people consider him the top safety in the class.
First of all, I think safeties have gone quite devalued, it feels like, just in general as a position. Don't you agree? Like, you don't see the...
People will talk about, like, first-round safety the way they used to talk about, like, first-round running back.
Dude?
Like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, who's the dude for the Jets who went top 5?
Jamal Adams?
Jamal Adams, like big bust, right? And Derwin James is polished and as great as he was coming out. A lot of people, like, I think, I mean, you could go back and correct me, but I think the consensus big board had Derwin at least top 10, if not like a top 7 guy. He goes 18. He falls all the way to 18, and look at how impactful he is. Kyle Hamilton, what did he end up going? Late teens, early 20s? Did he go 12?
No, 14.
No,
he was
yeah.
just available
Okay,
at 12.
14.
Very famously behind 9.
I feel like it's a very
like, hey.
devalued position just in general a little bit. Caleb Downs, again, kind of stealing the show is this day one, not an all-star, but day one starter, big impact player. I have not watched enough of A.J. Halsey or McNeil from Toledo, but what I've watched of Thiem, and these three kind of seem like the second tier. It depends on what mock draft and everything else, big board you look at. Some say maybe multiple, 2 out of these 3 guys are going to be there at 49. I don't know. They might all be gone at 49 by the time this is all said and done.
Derwin James was 7th on the consensus
There you
board,
go.
and actually Minka Fitzpatrick was 6th, and he went 11 to the Dolphins.
Interesting. Good pull there on Minka.
So you think best case scenario for him, he's the number 2 safety. If he tests well, like he'd be right behind Downs potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think there's going to be a big drop off, though, Sam. I mean, maybe late first. Maybe this is a Harrison Smith type of situation where somebody trades up, like he's in that 35 to 50 range. Somebody trades up late first situation. Again, combine could be huge for him. Again, I think he's going to be the fastest safety at the combine. There's always a couple of smaller school guys, maybe that I don't have on my radar, but he could improve his stock quite a bit in Indy. But yeah, right now in that, all 3 of these guys right now in that kind of 35 to 60-ish range, but it's so early and so much is going to change from now until draft weekend. 49 though, I don't know. Honestly, right now, I don't feel great about him falling to 49.
Right.
We'll see though. Who knows?
I will say I've appreciated that we have changed football terminology from describing players like this as chess pieces to Swiss Army knives. I feel like I've heard
it was a
chess
big curve
piece
there
way
for a
less
while.
often.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate because like that doesn't make sense.
Well, what piece are you?
Right.
Pawn? We a rook?
Yeah. How
you working with here?
He's a bishop. He
He's
only
a chess
can run
piece, but
diagonally.
he's just a pawn.
Yeah, he's a chess.
He does one thing.
That's so good. I'm going to
one
describe so many players in this year's draft like that.
We find leaked
He's a
footage
versatile
of,
chess piece, but
we find leaked footage of Kwesi in the war room saying our guy said he was a chess piece.
and
Well,
little
we
did
won't
we
find
know he
any
was a
leaked
knight,
footage of
and
Kwesi in
there's
this
like
war
not
room.
much we can.
How cryptic can we be in closing on today's show?
It is up to Braun.
It is kind of up. Yeah, Braun kind of, even though I host the show, Braun kind of runs the show because this is the Locked On Vikings feed.
That's
it
such a
is
busy show.
iterating. Can I say that the feed is iterating?
It's a great
and
word.
There will be plans in the near future.
Yes.
Something's happening. Something might happen.
Things are happening behind
something
the scenes.
is super happy. They're going to find out on the next show that something
Yes.
is happening.
I'll say we can say the cast of the Vikings squad show is changing. This will be made clear next week. All will be made clear by March. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, just remember my cold open, and that'll give you a clue.
Are we changing the show's name to Vikings Elvis Presto Show, Macho Meach?
It's not off the table.
Either that
All
or the
bets are
Minnesota,
off.
Minnesota football party maybe in play as well.
Yeah.
Minnesota football presto.
Yeah. Well, so I'll say February will be a bit of a weird month here on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. There's going to be some stuff kind of changing on the fly, a little less than there will be, and then later in the off season, the full vision will come to fruition. Much like a football off season, where you can't really tell what's going on until second week in March or so.
Just be assured that all of the tampering has occurred.
Yeah, a lot of things behind the scenes have broken.
I
rules.
did a lot of tampering.
Are we
That's
going to have
what
Hard
happened.
Knocks cameras inside, behind the scenes?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
HBO
There's
hasn't
truth to all
announced
rumors.
yet. HBO hasn't announced.
Someone may have contacted Omaha Productions for, sequel to quarterback and receiver podcaster,
Yeah. Sam, do you
don't wanna
have an idea of the shape of the next squad show, or should we not say anything there?
I feel like we should tell him.
Nothing to report today.
Okay.
Okay.
Nothing to report today. Appreciate, though, everyone's attendance today. Arif Hasan, wide left. Luke Braun, Locked On Vikings. Draft aficionado, Luke Inman. And check him out on the Wolves postcast as well. I'm Sam Ekstrom. Thanks for watching, listening, commenting, and subscribing. I'll talk to you next time on The Squad Show.